To get started, our subject today is what is our subject we're going over today?
We're talking about knowing the signs of spirit possession.
Yes, we're starting and we're going over the signs of spirit possession. So, what
scary. Okay.
Is very scary because the signs of spirit possession is something that you always should know. The Bible says, we always have to go back to the beginning, you know that. The Bible said you have to have something called discernment. You have to know thyself. Okay, and a lot of times this is where these problems come from because people, they notice something is going on with their kid or something's going on with their wife or something going on with them, and they don't take it seriously until it's too far. And if you want a fictional account of this, you know, there's several of those movies that was made called Paranormal Activities. And there was Paranormal Activity 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're probably up to number 34 by now. But anyway, in all of those movies, it always started as something very tiny in the beginning that people think is funny or not serious or they're not, you know. It's just, but then the problem keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And by the time they decide to do something about it, it's a major, massive problem. And that's what you should not do. You should always look for these little warning signs. And this is what we're going to be talking about today, the little warning signs. Because the devil is not a liar, he's a deceiver. And what he tries to do is plant seeds. And most people think that, you know, if you got demon possession or spirit possession, it starts once you're floating off your bed or once something, or, you know, is sleeping with you in bed, or you have those dreams of you wake up and you got all those marks on your legs and your arms. Okay, that is when the light has turned red. Okay. You should have been working on that problem months ago before it got to that point, because by the time I'm called in and people are complaining about that, I'm talking to them about what was going on a month ago or 3 months ago or whatever, and they start telling me about those little signs that started before the nightmare got going. Okay, and you don't want that with you and whatever. So let's talk about the beginning. Okay, so with spirit possession, there's two things out there. You have ghosts and you got spirits. Okay. Now, ghosts are like roaches. We keep saying that and people still don't like it, but ghosts are everywhere. Okay. And ghosts, remember, they live in that world. There's the world of the living and the world of the spirits. And ghosts live they're not in the world of the living. They're not in the spirit world. They're in neither of these worlds or neither world, which is this very ugly world that used to be empty and now is like a big ghetto, the world of Twilight. There's a lot of weird creatures there. We talked about the other day. This is where these midway creatures are also. But ghosts are always looking for a place to hide. And ghosts, if you let them, will hide in your house. Okay. And, you know, and female ghosts would like to play with your kids or whatever. But normally that is not a problem. It's only a problem, as we talked about when we talked about things talking to your kids. As long as your kid is, you know, having visible friends or whatever, it's only when the kids start talking about, you know, Mary told me I don't have to go to bed 8 o'clock. I can stay up as long as I want. And you're like, who's Mary? That's my doll. She told me I don't have to go to bed 8 o'clock. Okay. See, now, something is wrong.
That's Annabelle.
Right. Now, people will start letting you know there's a problem before there. And kids are very honest. And we're going to start with the simplest first, looking with kids, and go up the ladder. With kids, they will tell you there is a problem with one of their toys or something if one of their toys are being bad. They will say, Mommy, I don't like this doll anymore. I don't want this doll in my room anymore. Why don't you want your doll in your room? Because this doll is being very mean to me. Well, how is your doll being mean to you? Well, it's telling me mean things or is... Okay. As soon as you hear those warning signs, that dog got to go. I don't care if you pay $2 for it or $200 for it. It got to go. Okay.
And doesn't it have to go a certain way?
Well, okay. If you should not say you're having trouble with your dog, we're going to give it to your best friend or give it to the neighbor. If it's a bad dog, then you need to, you need to dispose of it. Or if you don't, or if it's a keepsake, you just need to get it out of your kid's room. If it was something that belongs, like a family heirloom or something, you can always, put it somewhere else, but keep it away from your kid. Okay. You see what I'm saying? But if you do want to throw it out, you do not want to burn it.
Right.
That is energy. You don't want to go there. If you do want to throw it out, you're going to wrap it in a white garbage bag or a towel, and you're going to set it outside and in the daytime, let the sun hit on it, and then you're going to throw it away. Okay. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you need, but if your kid is complaining about one of the toys, and this toy is talking to me, and this toy is doing this, that toy got to go. Okay. And that is what ghosts like to do. Ghost wants to play with your kids or talk to your kids. So a lot of time kids don't want to play with ghosts, so the ghost will try to get in one of the toys and try to talk to your kid through one of the toys. Okay. And when you're and when it becomes a problem, the kid will let you know that doll is doing things it should not be doing. Okay. And that doll has to go. And with kids, you want to keep it at that level. Okay. But with ghosts, you don't really have the problem. The problem is spirits. Now, again, ghosts are like roaches. Spirits are not roaches. Okay. Spirits are snakes. Okay. Spirits have power. Now, 90% of the time, if you have spirits in your house, there's a reason why they're in your house.
Okay, and someone's asking, how do we...
get rid of ghosts?
How do we keep bad spirits and demons away?
Okay,
and out of
we're
our
going to
house?
talk about that, but let's talk about ghosts first. If you have a ghost problem in your house, and if you're saying that, you can just burn sage or do things like that to get rid of the house, holy water. They will get rid of your ghosts. Now, some of this stuff is not going to work on spirits. That's reading this harder. But, as I said, spirits, 90% of the time, if you got spirits in your house, there's a reason, quote, non-quote, that they're in your house. Spirits are not just in your house because they was passing down the neighborhood and decided, oh, that's a nice looking house, I guess we'll just pop in there. No, spirits do not do that. Okay, normally when spirits is in your house, they was either invited in the house or you did something to attract them to your house. Okay, and then you want to know, why are they there? So, a lot of times spirits gets invited into people's houses because people do things to invite them. For example,
on purpose.
A lot of people feel like they need protection. So they will burn a protection candle. And they will burn this protection candle. And when they burn this candle for protection, it says protection, or it says money, or those are called Wicca candles. If you burn money candle, protection candle, or a candle to help you at work, or do things like that, or to find a boyfriend or find a girlfriend, and you burn that candle, and you did not ask in God's name or Jesus' name, you just sent it, you just read the thing on the back and lit the candle, you created an open check. You're asking for protection, but you didn't say from whom. Anybody can sign their name in there. And a lot of times when I do cleansings of houses and they're complaining about this shadow in the house, I will say, what happened 2 months ago? Did you burn a candle or something? Yeah, I bought this candle. It was for protection and I burned it. Okay, well, the thing that's in your house is a spirit. It says it's here to protect your house. Are you being protected? Are you, he says you invited it in. It says you're the one who burnt the candle. Well, I just wanted protection. I didn't want this. I don't want spirits in my house. Okay, well, you invited it in.
Okay, and someone is asking, what's the difference between spirit and a ghost?
A ghost is a dead person. Okay, now, people have limited power when they're alive. When they die, they're just unplugged. And you go down, we are a speck of living energy, which I went over several times. A spirit creature is a spirit creature. Remember, they are not a ghost. Spirit creatures are made of subtle matter. We are made of gross matter. Okay, and spirit creatures have power. Now, let's talk about the ruse upstairs. It's very simple. I don't care what kind of spirit you are. Upstairs is either God's way or the highway. And when you start doing things that they don't like, and there's a lot of ways to get kicked out from upstairs. We're not going to go all into that because it's just like down here, as above as below. There's a lot of reason to go to jail here. You can go to jail here for killing somebody, writing bad checks, not doing child support, not, embezzling money. There's a lot of reasons. So just because you're in jail doesn't mean that you're a serial killer. It means that you did something. Upstairs, there's a lot of ways to get kicked out. We're not going there. The only thing that we know is that angels must be in the light 100 of every 1,000 years. What kind of light this is, we do not know. But if they start being bad, they are denied access to the light. If they are denied access to the light, they will start to weaken. And they will fall. Okay. And they can fall on Jupiter, Mars, whatever, but there's nothing to play with. They like to fall on places they can have things to play with. The Earth has 7 billion things to play with. Okay. As long as they can still fly or hop around, they can still do their thing because the Earth is controlled by 261 spiritual forces. Okay, as long as they can still jump around or semi-fly, they do not have to pledge allegiance to one of the forces. Once they can no longer fly, they must work for somebody. It's the big cartel. Okay, you get what I'm saying? And those 261 forces are there, or here. There's, Okay, so that's the reason you have all these different religions and everything all over the world. All this stuff is controlled by the spirit side. Now, as I said, if you burn a protection candle or whatever, or if you're working with this spirit or working with this religion or working with this, there's spirits which are connected to all this stuff, which the Bible called these principalities. Okay. We're not going into that. That's a subject for a different way. But how you get this stuff in your house is when you start asking for things. Or you can do things to attract them. Okay, how you attract spirits is by buying some of their spirit stuff. Or let's say, okay, for example, a lot of people have Buddhas in their houses. The Buddha is just a decorative art item. But if you have this Buddha and you start putting oil on your Buddha and you start burning candles to your Buddha and doing things like that, that Buddha is going to become active. Okay. And you might get some, Hindu, spirit, some Buddhist spirit might be invited to your house because you're worshiping a Buddhist idol, and it wants to know what do you want in exchange. See, in the spirit world, everything is in exchange. In exchange for this is willing to do that, like in Christianity. In exchange for worshiping God and Jesus, he will grant you 5 favors. Okay, you understand? Spirits want to be something called worshipped. Okay, and if you worship them, they will grant you favors. Okay. That's the reason you ask for things, but the Bible tells you you're supposed to ask for things in God's name, Jesus' name. But you can ask for things in Santa Muerte's name, or St. Jude's name, or Buddha's name, or Allah's name, whatever. There's 261 different names you can ask in. Okay, that's for you to decide. But if you are doing this stuff, when you start getting this stuff in your house, and if you have, like I live along the border, and some people here got, they got these, they have their Pancho Villas in their houses and lighting their candles of Pancho Villa, and one of his spirits are there. Okay. It want to know what you want in exchange. Okay, you're worshiping Pancho Villa, you're lighting candles for him and whatever. Okay. And he's willing to grant you favors. Okay. He's in the house. Now, if he's just there to grant you favors and to help you with your money problems, to help you in life and to bless you, that's great. But sometimes they want more, and sometimes you want more. You want to know, hey, how do I get that girlfriend? How do I get that promotion? How do I get this? How do I get that? And, spirits are tricky because spirits have something called free will. Dealing with spirits is like dealing with people. There's good people and bad people. And sometimes you can deal with a person and you only get what you ask for. And sometimes you deal with people and you get a lot more than what you ever asked for. So with spirits, you always have to work with them with your eyes open. You have to make sure that they are keeping their end of the deal. And you better keep your end of the deal because it's a two-way transaction. Okay, so with spirits, if like I said, the lady that burned the protection candle, there's a spirit in the house. He sees this shadow, and the spirit's there says that I'm there protecting the house. Okay, the problem is what the analogy is, we are elementary school kids. They are college students. And when you're in elementary school, you believe that babysitter's in your house because that babysitter likes you and you want to show your babysitter that picture you grew today and want to show this and want to... That babysitter doesn't really give a... Okay. She just wants you to go to sleep, have a cookie so she can do her Facebook and call her boyfriend. Okay. Okay. Spirits have their own agenda a lot of time. So that spirit is supposedly in your house protecting you. But that spirit is doing a lot of other things in your house too. And that's what people start complaining about, is that they start getting that awkward feeling when they're taking a bath in the morning or they're getting dressed and they feel like something's watching them because, that's part of that extracurricular activity that spirits like to get in. Spirits have this problem for some reason, especially with women. It says in the Bible that, the daughters of God looked down upon the earth and saw that the women of the earth was fair. Fair has a name. Fair means light skin with dark hair. Okay, that is what they like. Spirits live in a black and white world. They live in the ultraviolet spectrum. Okay, and they don't see color. They like that combination of black and white. It drives them crazy. Okay, and this is why all the women around the equator, all around the world, was covered. In Christianity, in Islam, in Japan, in China, the American Indians, all the women around the center near the equator was covered. They didn't cover the women up in Scandinavia because they was white with blonde hair. That's white. They was running around naked. They didn't cover the African women because they're black hair with black skin. That's black. They only covered the women around the equator. So women are not a temptation to angels, is what it says in the Quran, in the Bible, and several other religious books all over the world. Okay. Not that women's not a temptation to man, so women's not a temptation to angels. Okay. They just love that light skin, dark hair. Okay. But, so if you get them in your house and they're doing bad things, maybe sage may not work on getting them out. It depends on how powerful they are and how much they want to stay. But if they're in the house and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, is when you start noticing this little stuff. And spirits do something that that ghosts don't do. Spirits whisper to people. And most people are susceptible to the whispers of spirits because we all have our internal voice. We all have our spirit guides, our guardian angels, or this or that or whatever, and we don't have something called discernment. And we think all these voices are one and the same. And that is how we get screwed. Because all of a sudden, which I keep going back to this example, and I'm going to keep using it because it's great. You said, I'm going to stay home today. I was out last night with my friends and I got a little drunk and I need to stay home with my kids and I'm not going nowhere today. And then that voice gets started. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's just go and have a drink. Come on, just one. We're just go for an hour. Come on. Okay. When you start that, and then, no, I don't want to go nowhere. I want to stay home. Come on, let's go. Just for an hour. Come on. Okay, well, I'm going to go out. I'll be back in an hour. And then before you know it, you stayed out all night again. And it's like, gosh, I don't know why. Every time I want to stay home, it's that voice that... Now, why is there a voice telling you to do something you don't want to do? You don't need that in life. Life sucks enough by itself. You don't need somebody telling you bad things to do that. You get what I'm saying? Okay. You know, putting up with your boss at work is hard enough. You don't need that voice saying, gosh, the next time he talks to you like that, you should just curse him out and tell him where to go and whatever. And you know what's going to happen if you do that. Okay. You know what's going to happen, right? But that voice keeps bugging you. I don't know why you take all that shit from your boss. You should just tell that guy where to go. Okay. Why do you want that in your life? If you're having that problem, what Christians say to do is to say, devil gets behind me. Okay. Or you need to say, hey, I think I'm having a problem. I keep having this voice that is telling me to do things. Okay. And if you start thinking about it, you will say, hey, that voice is different from that other voice, because that other voice is telling me, hey, you need to get up early tomorrow morning, because you need to take, your kids to school on time and it's getting late. You need to turn the TV off. See, your regular voices is trying to help you in life, right? Then you got this one voice saying, hey, I can stay up as long as you want to. You don't have to, go to bed. I can stay up and drink another beer. Or I don't have to go to bed early for it. I can stay up all night if I want to. And then your kids don't make it to school. Oh my gosh. Okay. If you're having that problem, you have to know, hey, something's not right here. Okay. Now, this is when the problem is a minor problem. See, you're not floating off the mattress yet. Your head's not spinning around. Okay. You're not vomiting. Okay. See, you have to get the problem when it's minor. Okay. Let's talk about kids that's having trouble with whispering. And I'll give you the signs. Okay. Your little kid is a little teenager. He's 13, 15 years old. And he say, Mom, I want to paint my room. And you say, can I? Okay, why do you want to paint your room for? Because I don't like the colors, all white and everything, or light yellow. I want to paint my room black. Why do you want to paint your room black? Well, that's cool. I want to paint my room. Okay, see, something you got to say. Who told you to paint your room black? Where did this idea of getting your room painted? Did one of your friends tell you to paint? No, one of my friends didn't tell me that. I was just thinking it would be cool to paint my room black. No, you can't paint your room black. Okay. A few days later, can I paint my room dark red or dark green or dark? See, it's the trick. Because remember, spirits live in the black and white ultraviolet world. They don't see color. So if you can't paint the room black, dark green is black, dark red is black, dark blue is black. You still paint the room black. And there's a reason he wants the room black. Now, your kid, if he can't come up with a reason of why he wants the room painted a black color, dark green, dark blue, the kid will tell you, where are you getting this from? Mm-hmm. How come you putting all this crazy artwork and all this crazy stuff in your room all of a sudden? Is one of your friends telling you to do this? Is that what you're doing at school? No, I'm doing this on my own. This is just, I like painting all my nails black and wearing all black jewelry, but you wasn't wearing that before, not until 3-4 months ago. Why everything has to be black now? Well, I just think it's okay. Is something whispering to you or talking to you? Are you having dreams at night or something? Well, sometimes at night okay. That's when you know something is going south. He's still not floating off the bed yet. He's still not cutting himself with razor blades yet. But you know that something is not. The light has turned yellow. Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying? The light was green and it turned yellow. Okay. If you don't take care of the yellow, 6 months, a year from now, the light could be red. Okay. You always, with your wife, with your kids, with everything, you're looking for the yellow light. That is the caution light. And if your kid starts switching all of their clothes, or changing the way they dress or the way they're talking, and your kid was just, a regular kid in school, and now all of a sudden he's talking like a gang member, he's wearing the gang. Why are you dressing like a gang member for? Is there a reason why you do? Talk to your kids. If you have that conversation, instead of yelling and screaming at them, just talk to them like a person. Is there a reason why you're dressing this way? Did someone tell you to do this? No, it's cool. Well, where are you getting this from? Is this out of a magazine or whatever? It's some,
Yeah, but then they're going to lie to you.
Okay, but by slowly putting the pieces together, you notice that, as I told you, the light is yellow, because you need to find out. Now, not every time when I do readings and we're suffering from bad kids, a lot of times, to be honest, it is not spirit problem. They're having the problem of bad friends. And they have that one bad friend, which is cool, which is doing the drugs, doing this, doing everything, but he got all the girls. And if I do all that bad stuff too, I can have all the girls too. And what you need to do in that situation, see, you need to find out where the problem is. Okay, and if he's suffering from bad friends, then you need to get rid of the bad friend. Okay. By getting them into sports or getting them into music or getting them into something, but get him away. And that friend, no, he's not coming to the house no more. Okay, you get what I'm talking about? Okay, or sometimes you got to find what the problem is. And if your wife was always home and doing things and she was so polite and whatever, and now she's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what happened to her. You know what I'm saying? Now she's dressing like she's 17 years old, and oh my gosh, she's hot. Okay, she's doing everything. I'll take what's going on here? Okay.
That might be midlife crisis.
Okay, it could be. You just need to have that conversation. But when you have the conversation, a lot of times something is there behind the scene. The light is still yellow. If you don't take care of the yellow light, you might have to deal with the red light later on. Okay. So let's talk about, you went straight past that yellow light. You didn't even slow down. Okay. So let's talk about your kid. So your kid at first was just complaining about the dolls. You didn't go past the yellow light. You didn't remove the doll. And now your kid is starting to have behavior problems. Okay, and now he doesn't want to go to school. And now he stays in his room and he doesn't want to come out anytime. And he doesn't want to play with anybody. And now you need to find out what's going on in the room. And how come he's in that room all the time. And he got his earphones on. And you can see what kind of music he's listening to. And he's listening to all this weird music and whatever. And like, okay. You need to try to turn this ship around. Okay. Because that is only going one direction. He was making good grades in school, and now he's that, the school is calling you. You say, hey, I dropped him off this morning. Well, he wasn't in first grade. He wasn't in, he didn't show up. Okay. And that's the third time they called in the last week or two. If you don't do something about this problem, okay, right? The light is turning red. Okay. That's when, you want to stay away from red lights. Let's talk about your teenage kid. You went past that yellow light. Now his room is painted dark green because he couldn't paint it black, so it's very dark green. And now he's hanging all this weird stuff on the wall, and now he's hanging out with all these people that, do drugs and doing all this stuff. And they're, oh my gosh. And some of those people he's bringing over to the house is like, oh my gosh. Okay. The light is turning red. It's not too late to stop it, but this is the problem. See, before you could have done this by yourself. Once the problem gets very bad, you might need to get professional help. Okay, right? And especially, okay, the problem when spirits start talking to kids, especially teenagers, they will bring down their self-esteem very, very low. And the kid will start talking all kind of depressing stuff about they hate life and, and how great death is. And they talk about all this stuff. They start talking about satanic stuff and putting skulls everywhere and all this stuff. And they talk about, they don't like life and, and they like it, when they're high, the world is beautiful and whatever. See, spirits want to get you out of reality and into this alternative BS world. Okay. Because that's the world they're in. Remember, this world, neither world is kind of like a crazy place. I told you. They want to introduce that world to them. And when your kids start doing this stuff, and then you notice that your kid start having, behavior problems, eating, not eating, they're cutting themselves, they're shooting up, again, the light is now red. You need professional help. Okay. Same with you. Your light was yellow. You kept listening to that voice, and now you cursed your boss out and you lost your job. And now you had this person in your life for 10, 20 years, and now she's threatening to leave you because now every time you get mad, it's like F you and this. Okay. It took you 10 years to build that castle. And you're going to burn it down in less than 6 months. Okay. The light is turning red. Now, why do spirits want you to do this? Because what spirits want to do is get you, once you get into these self-destructive modes and you don't give up anymore about yourself or anyone else, that makes it easier for them to take advantage of you and to use you. You become their toy, their tool. Because remember, we told you before, they can't touch anything in our world. Our world is made of, everything here is physical. They live in the spiritual world. To operate in our world, they need something called a physical body, which is your body, your kid's body, your wife's body. Okay, they need a body to play with. And they don't want your body so they can go to church or sign up to take classes at the local university. They don't want your body for that. They want your body so they can have fun. Go and party and get drunk and run around nude and go 200 miles on the highway and do all this crazy stuff and get high and drunk. And at the end of their having fun with your body, you're either dead, in jail, or living on the street. And boy, they had a great time. They need to find a new body now because they broke that one. You understand what I'm talking about? They need a new body to play with. Okay. But your life has been destroyed. There's not a lot of happy endings here. Okay, you don't want to wait until you get to that point before you say, maybe I have a problem. Okay, and when you talk to a lot of people that have drug problems, they will tell you, there's this voice in my head, and it tells me some ugly stuff, especially when I'm very drunk or high. It talks to me about some very weird stuff. Okay, they know. Another sign of spirit possession. If that is how if they're getting into you, see, there's different ways to get into you. They have to, if they're going to soften you up so they can get inside of you, they have to lower your defenses and bring down your self-esteem. That's how most of them want to play this game. Some of them don't have the patience for this because they want a body tomorrow. They don't want to play 6 months to soften you up so they can take you over. They want you mañana. Okay. What they're going to do is try to force their way into your body. That's where you get people talking about, I feel like there's something on my back. Or I have these dreams that something's on top of me. Or I have these dreams that something... See, they're trying to force their way in. Okay. And I feel like sometimes it's like there's a shadow and it's like a dark cloud and it just follows me wherever I go. And I get this ringing in my ear and sometimes it's just, okay. Something is trying to force itself inside of you.
So what? So in an instant like that.
Oh, you really need to. That's when
what do we do?
You break the glass and hit the button. When you got that problem, you have to go for emergency help.
And what is that? I mean,
you have to seek professional help.
Okay.
Professional help to people that can deal, because if this thing is trying to force inside of you, if you don't get help, it might take this thing a week or two or to figure out how to get inside of you. Okay. If it really went in and you're having all these super bad nightmares and you're doing this and you have a hole at the back of your neck to let you know you are a spirit creature playing this physical game called reality. That's the reason they keep telling you that life on earth doesn't exist. Your spirit self is floating above you. It is your seventh chakra. Your spirit self is connected to your physical body at the base of your spine, which is right here, where your spinal cord and brain meet. There's a hole at the back of your neck. That is where they like to try to force their way in. This thing is on your back and is like it's drilling a hole in the back of your neck. He's trying to get inside. If you don't go to somebody who can chase this thing off or close that hole up, it's just a matter of time before he forces his way in. Okay. And probably you can't do that. So in those cases, you're going to break the glass and go to a priest or go to church or go to a light worker you need to go somewhere. But to stay at home, you can't sleep because every time you close your eyes, you see this thing. You understand what I'm saying? We forgot to talk about something that happens to women. Okay. Since we're talking about spirits. Not all spirits want to massage you and get in some that way. Not all spirits want to drill their way inside of you. Some of these spirits are just horny, you know what. Okay. And what with women, especially if you got that light skin and dark hair, they will say, well, okay, at night I would see this little boy or this little girl down the hallway. It's just a little girl, and she always see her in the hallway. And then a month or two later, I see her in the doorway of my bedroom, and then a month or two later, I see her hanging around my bed. And then she's slowly climbing onto the bed. Okay, you're saying a little tiny girl. You don't have no idea. Because when that thing get on your bed, then you're going to start saying, I wake up in the morning and I got all these bruises all over my body. And sometimes my legs, there's bruises on my legs. And okay. That is not a little tiny boy or a little girl. Okay. When you're going that way and you're saying stuff like that, boy, you're having problems. Okay. And that's when people come to me, and I hate to say this, I hope there's no kids listening. This has happened to me a half a dozen times where people say, somebody have told me to come to you because I wake up in the morning and sometimes I'm wet down there and I'm having these dreams of like things on top of me. And that is very scary. That's when they make movies and say based on a true, event. Okay. You really don't want to go there. Okay. You really don't want to go there. So if you see that thing working its way down the hallway, you understand what I'm saying, don't you? You can wait until it's climbing on your bed if you want to. But I don't really think you want to go there. Okay. And you need to go somewhere. So with ghosts, you can probably, in most cases, handle it your own. You just need some sage, holy water, get the house blessed, this and that and whatever. But with spirit problems, if you don't catch it when the light is yellow, you might be able to handle it on your own. Once the light turns red, most people cannot handle once the light is red. And once it goes beyond red, it goes black. That is when you can make a movie. Once it goes beyond red. Okay. Because once they take you over, there's something called a walk-in. A walk-in is where, okay, what a spirit will get you do, the ones that are trying to soften you up, to get inside of you, they will make it where you know, people will say, where you almost committed suicide, or you almost OD'd on drugs, or you almost... See, they want to get you just like in cancer. In cancer, they want to get you almost, to get rid of the cancer, the doctor has to take you almost to the edge of death. Then he brings you back. Okay. That's the same game the spirits play. They're going to take you to the edge of death, where you're so weak, and your life force is so weak, they can push you out and replace them with you. And after you almost died in that car accident, where you almost OD'd, where you almost died, people say, she's like a totally different person now. She almost OD'd on drugs 2 years ago, and she's totally different. It's like she's a totally different person. Because you are a totally different person. That old person, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We really don't want to go there. Okay.
Okay. Jason is asking a question about a candle. Can I ask you that?
Yes.
What are the Mother Mary candles used for?
Mother Mary candles? Okay. The problem with Catholic Virgin Mary candles. Okay, when you talk about a Jesus candle, there's one, you know, see, a lot, like, for example, a St. Jude candle is used for one thing. When you get into Jesus candles or Virgin Mary candles or whatever, there is a lot of spirits which is representing that one. And you got to go for a specific candle. So if you say, I'm looking for a Virgin Mary candle, that's the reason I tell people, okay, if you're having problems in a relationship, you need a Virgin Mary candle with Mary with the baby. If you're having problems of keeping your relationship together, then you need the Virgin Mary candle. Okay, because it gets very complicated, okay? Because there is 50 different candles, and you have to know the which one to use, okay? And they're not all the same, okay? And a Guadalupe candle, and a Fatima candle, and Mary with Child, and all these candles are different. Same with Jesus candle. A candle with Jesus on the cross, and the Blessed Heart of Jesus, and all these candles have a different purpose. You just can't grab any Jesus candle. Okay, you got to grab the right one. Okay, because these candles are already prepared. And if you want one for protection or forgiveness or for this or for that, you have to grab the white one. And this can get complicated. There are, you know, if you read the back of the candle, they will tell you what the candles are for. Or if you're not doing it the Catholic way, you can always just use a white candle and just say what you're doing, because you're doing something called incantation. And you could just say, I need help with this, or I need help with that. And then you don't have to play the game of choosing the wrong candle. Because if you got to get the right candles, just like with building a house. You know, sometimes you need a screwdriver, sometimes you need a hammer. You got to get the right tool for the right job, right? And if you don't know which one to do, just like when you need medicine and you go to the drug aisle and there's 50 different types of cold medicine, if you just don't close your eyes and choose one. If you don't know which one to choose, why don't you ask somebody and say, I'm having headaches and I can't sleep and stuffy nose. Which one should I take? There's people that's willing to help you. Or you can just go over there and say, I don't need no help. I can figure this out on my own. And you're going to choose the wrong one every time. Okay. But there's people. Go to a religious leader. Go to a light worker. Go to, you know, there's so many people out there that is willing to help. Okay. Next question.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. But the purpose of this talk is to go into the signs. And if you're noticing that you're having problems, You have to acknowledge, and this is easier for women than it is for men. Men say, I'm not having no problem. I can handle this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My drinking is not a problem. Okay. My drug use, I can control it. I can stop anytime I want to. Okay. Okay. Women have an easier time admitting that maybe I need help. Okay. You have to know the magic word. When things get bad, you need to say, I can't do this on my own. I need assistance. It doesn't mean that you're not a man. It doesn't mean that you're not this or you're a coward or whatever. You have to know when to hit the big red button. And if you're having help, and if you notice your kid is heading towards the edge of the cliff, and if you can't figure out how to stop it, then you need to go to somebody and say, I'm having very trouble with my son. I don't know. He just went crazy over the last year. Okay. And the way he's going to end up dead or in prison very soon. Okay. And you can wait until he gets there. Or you can try to get somebody to help. But you tried it and you couldn't do it. So you got to do something. The only thing we can do in life is try. Okay, and if you try your best, you give it 100%, there's no guarantee because life is hard. The problem with life, which I tell people all the time, the problem with everything we're having in this age we're living in, we buy, a $2,000 laptop or this $1,000 iPhone, and it doesn't come with no instructions. And we see people say, okay, if you want to know how to do this, press this button, do this, get this app, whatever. There's nobody to show you. There's nobody to do anything. You're just supposed to figure all this out on your own. And there's no school. It's just like ladies. They have these babies. And the baby doesn't come with a book. The baby doesn't come with instructions. And then they say, you're supposed to know that if the baby was doing this, you were supposed to do that. And if the baby... How am I supposed to know? And if you make a mistake, they be talking about taking your kid away. You get what I'm saying, don't you, right? Okay. This is the problem with life today. It's very, very complicated. And no one wants to help you. And when you need help, you need to know when to say, hey, I'm having trouble with my baby. The baby won't sleep and is throwing up and this and that, and maybe I'm not feeding it right, and maybe this. But at least you don't want to wait until the baby ends up in the hospital and then oh, maybe I wasn't. Because then Child Protective Services is involved, and you really don't want to go there. Okay. You want to fix the problem, and, and maybe you need a parenting class or something. I don't know. But there's people that's out there that's willing to help you. Maybe a family member can help you. Okay. And most of the time when people come to me, and if you don't know where to go, I'm going to give you a hint. It's in that book that you got in your house called that Bible. You can just ask of those people upstairs. And you can say, I'm having this problem. I'm having this problem with my kid. Please, Jesus, God, help me with this problem. I need direction and guidance. I don't know what to do. Please help me. And you'll be surprised what happens.
Thank you for saying that.
Oh my gosh, that's very terrible. Okay, so you just need to know, as I told you, we play the game of the 3 lights. The lights are either green, yellow, or red. Okay. The light should always be, I did a reading on a lady yesterday. She was having bad dreams because I told her the light was going from yellow to red. And she wanted to know how to get the light back to yellow again. I told her the light is not supposed to be yellow. It's supposed to be green. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Okay, you're supposed to be in green at all times. Some people love to live in that twilight zone between yellow and red. It's so exciting. Okay, we're not supposed to be doing that crazy stuff. Okay, we need to quit playing these little BS games. Okay. Don't play that game with your life with your family, with your kids, and you don't need to be rushing to emergency in the middle of the room. You got police knocking on your door, the school calling about your kid. Okay. You know what I'm saying, don't you? What your kid did at school. If you're noticing that your kid is going, okay, you need to do something. Okay. And if you got bad friends, and if your daughter's hanging around those bad people, or if, you need to try to do something. But you need to get that voice out of your head. And as long as you got that voice in your head that are helping you, and we all have voices, but your voices should be helping you. And as soon as you start getting that voice that is trying to ruin your life, trying to tell you, I don't know why you've been with that woman all that time anyway. You don't need her no more. You should just tell her to... Okay. You try that and see what happens. Okay. You need to say where this voice came from. This voice wasn't in my head 6 months ago. And now every day I hear this voice telling me to tell my wife where she can go and what she can do. Okay, where is this coming from? Okay. I need to get rid of this voice out of my head. Okay. You get what I'm saying? Because maybe that voice wants you to be homeless on the street. And you hear these people say, I once had a nice job, a wife, house, everything, and I lost everything. Okay. Maybe that's what that spirit wants. Okay. And then when you almost died on the street, then you became a different person. Amazing. Amazing. So we're almost out of time. This you need to think about. This was extremely scary. It was supposed to be scary. You need to play this back 2 or 3 times until you memorize this, and you need to have a long talk with your kids. You need to have a long talk with yourself. Okay. And remember, when you need to stay home with your kids and you promised you was going to stay home with your kid, that voice should not be telling you to do something else. You control your life, no one else.